India's transnational crimes and repression against Sikh community. Don't you think India is on a way to break up?
India is on the same path which in the 1980s Soviet Union was. India should be declared as a rogue state. Sanctions should be brought against it, and India should be held accountable.
What BJP wanted to achieve by suppressing Sikhs, Muslims?
I think we'll have to go back 100 years. In 1925, when RSS, Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, was founded by Dr. Hedgewar, which was later on led by Golwalkar. There, the very foundation of RSS was based on motivation, inspiration, and example of Nazi party. As Nazi ideology was of one nation, one race, one people, so they came up with a slogan, Hindu, Hindi, Hindustan.
So these all actions being done by BJP are the clear violation of the Indian Constitution. So why Indian judiciary is silent then?
Indian Constitution is not the Constitution of India today.
3 religious places of Sikh community are located in Pakistan, and how Pakistan is treating Sikhs, your thoughts please.
We get in Pakistan, nowhere in the world Sikhs are respected or loved as much as by the people of Pakistan.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Hello and welcome to Program Insight in V News English. Dear viewers, Khalistan movement is an important issue in India, and Khalistan movement is led by brave and valiant Sikh people who reside in Indian Punjab, and they're demanding a separate homeland. The justification or the purpose for making call for a separate homeland within Republic of India is they wanted to get freedom, independence from Indian subjugation. India over last many decades is persecuting Sikh community in Indian Punjab, suppressing. And if we take into account last approximately 50 years only, so thousands of Sikhs have been massacred. There have been operation in Golden Temple, and then finally thousands of the Sikhs migrated from India to different parts of the world. They have biggest presence in United States of America. They have biggest presence in Australia, in Canada, in United Kingdom, in Europe, and elsewhere. But the biggest community resides in United States. When we talk of United States, in 2024, there have been a number of attempts made by Indian intelligence agency RAW to target and assassinate some of the prominent Sikh activists in United States and in Canada. One of the Sikh leader, Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, survived, and that his plot to assassinate him was timely detected and exposed by the American intelligence, and that issue was taken up with the Indian government. More serious issue was in Canada, where a Sikh leader was gunned down. Later on, through investigation, it was established that he was also gunned down on the behest of the Indian Secret Service RAW's cover-up officers who were based in Indian High Commission in Ottawa. To discuss this all, and the latest development is Indian External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jay Shankar, is in the United States of America, where upon his arrival, a large number of Sikh people demonstrated over the presence of Indian External Affairs Minister and demanded and reminded him of the rights of the Sikh community and chanted slogans for Khalistan. To discuss this all, we are fortunate to have with us a prominent Khalistan leader based in Washington, D.C., Dr. Amarjeet Singh. Very good morning, Dr. Amarjeet Singh Sahab, and very warm welcome to Program Inside in V News English.
Good morning, Mateen Saab, and thank you very much for inviting me on V News English. Thanks.
It's always a pleasure to have with us. First, tell us that Indian External Affairs Minister, Mr. Jay Shankar, is here in Washington on an official visit to United States of America, shared that story that a large number of Sikh community staged demonstration when he arrived for talks at State Department with his American counterpart.
Sir, the fact of the matter is this is a holiday season in Washington, D.C., and Americans are waiting for January 20th when President Trump is to take oath. At this time, no foreign dignitary or foreign minister or anybody visits Washington. But this surprise visit of S. Jaishankar, along with Foreign Secretary Mr. Mishri, was a kind of alert notice for the Sikh committee as well. We organized under Sikh for Justice a protest at a very small notice. And even in India, the experts on this matter, as you know, that since May 2023, when in Canada, Hardeep Singh Nijjar was murdered in the Gurdwara complex, then Gurpatwant Singh Pannu murder plot was foiled here. And in New York District Court, there are charges against Nikhil Gupta, who has been extradited from Czech Republic after 1 year of effort. So at this stage, when two issues are very not only irritational issues, but rather make or mar situations. One is transnational repression, and secondly is the Adani indictment. So in that context, we think that in the guise of meeting Biden administration people, S. Jaishankar, along with Mr. Mishri, Foreign Secretary, are trying to make communication with the new appointees of Trump administration. Now, we don't have any solid information that in the new administration, the people who are coming with whom S. Jaishankar met. But we chased him like anything. When he was in State Department, there was a protest there. Then we had a protest in front of the Indian Embassy where S. Jaishankar was presiding over a meeting of not only embassy officials, but 5 or 6 consulates in America here of India, in New York, Houston, Seattle, Atlanta and all. So the message was, and we had a special protest on that day in front of Russian embassy as well. As we know that India's RAW, which is RAW, was not only trained under KGB, actually it is a next child of KGB during the Indira Gandhi time when out of few officers from intelligence bureau, they came up with this RAW. And what RAW has done here in America, Canada, that is where they have been caught. They had been doing this for a long time. In Pakistan, they killed in the month of May in Lahore, Parmjit Singh Panjwat. Then on June 15th, the murder of Avtar Singh Khanda in the UK. Now, that was not a direct assassination, but we believe that some chemical weapon was used by Indian agents to kill him. And then 3 days later, on June 18th, Hardeep Singh Nijjar was murdered, and after 3 months, on 18th September, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau blamed directly Indian agents for this murder. So our purpose of our protest and all other activity here is to tell our US lawmakers, opinion makers, and decision makers that the country which claims to be the largest democracy is actually a Nazi-cracy, and what they are doing on American soil as well. India should be declared as a rogue state. Sanctions should be brought against it, and India should be held accountable for targeting a US citizen. So that was the main purpose of the protest here.
Dr. Saab, as you precisely mentioned about your struggle, your narrative, and your objectives, why you are pressing for a separate homeland, that India is definitely suppressing the Sikh movement in India, and it's targeting some of the prominent Sikh activists across world, particularly, as you mentioned, in the United Kingdom, United States, and Canada. To what extent your struggle has made some success? Please share with us as 2024 is passing. We have also seen there have been referendums in the United States. There have been Sikh referendum, Khalistan referendum in Canada. It has also been held in New Zealand and in Australia. So what do you think after these referendums? What is the next strategy now?
Matin Sahib, I want to tell to the viewers of V News English that our struggle didn't begin in June 1984, as most of the so-called experts will try to put it. Actually, during the 1940 era, or when Britishers decided to leave India, Sikhs were the third party to the negotiations for transfer of power. And we know that Sikh leaders at that time, they joined India on the assurances by Gandhi and Nehru that no constitution in India will be accepted which won't be acceptable to the Sikhs. Second was, as in the words of Nehru itself, that Sikhs will be given a province in the north of India so that they may also be able to enjoy or experience the glow of freedom. So what happened was that during the Constituent Assembly discussion for a new constitution, they even refused to recognize Sikhs as a separate religion. Article 25B of Indian Constitution clubs Sikhs, Buddhists and Jains as Hindus. That was the time when two Sikh representatives in the Constituent Assembly, Bhupinder Singh Maan and Hukam Singh, they said, it is betrayal of the Sikhs, it is betrayal of the promises made to the Sikhs, we reject this constitution. The fact of the matter is that de facto, though we were captured in the Indian map, but de jure, we never signed the draft of Indian constitution. So our struggle goes back to that day. We have never accepted or signed Indian constitution for 37 years, from August 47 till the first week of June 1984. Our struggle was for an autonomous state within the Union of India, so that Punjab should have the autonomy and 2-3 departments like foreign affairs and defense should be within India. What Indira Gandhi did in the first week of June 1984 was full-scale attack on Golden Temple, Sanctum Sanctorum of the Sikhs, 37 other Sikh historical shrines, and we call it as a total war declared on the Sikhs. So our struggle after that, June 84, is clearly for Khalistan. In these 40 years, this is the 40th year, 2024, since 1984 attack, I think our movement has gone through ups and downs. In the 80s, from 1984 till 1995, there was an armed resistance to the Indian state's armed tactics in Punjab. But by 1995, Indian government very ruthlessly, by fake staged encounter, they killed a whole generation of the young Sikhs. The number goes across over 100,000. And the next generation was subjected to the substance abuse. We believe that drugs were systematically brought in Punjab. Then next 10 years were the gangster warfare, where they created gangsters and all. Then they created situation in Punjab that mass migration started in the last decade. At this time, when we are talking about Sikh diaspora, over 5 million Sikhs are outside the map of India. There are 1 million Sikhs roughly in Canada, the same number in the US, the same number in UK, and even in Australia now, there are close to 500,000 Sikhs, and so do they are spread in other European countries. So now the center of activity shifted from India to the diaspora. And then 2.5 years ago came Khalistan referendum movement, which was begun by Sikhs for Justice. It began in London, UK, and by now, already all the Five Eyes countries, they have had referendums, which was in UK, then Canada, then America, Australia, and lately in New Zealand. And hundreds of thousands of Sikhs, they have participated in that referendums everywhere, wherever it happened. So I think at that time, Modi and Ajit Doval, the killing squad in Amit Shah, they decided that now the diaspora movement should be crushed. That is when they started in the month of May 2023 with Paramjit Singh Panjwad's murder in Lahore. Then on June 15th, 2023, Avtar Singh Khanda's murder in Birmingham, UK. Then June 18th, 2023, the murder of Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Surrey. And then in the month of June, they were planning murder of Gurpatwant Singh Pannu, legal counsel
in New York.
Justice, in New York, which was thwarted by the vigilant American agencies as Nikhil Gupta, who was given the contract by RAW to do that, actually was talking to the undercover agents of FBI. And we know now the full detail, as even one of the prominent RAW officer, Vikas Gupta, who has been named in the indictment in the UN, in the New York court, he was coordinating all that. So this is, at this time, the Khalistan movement is on the international radar. India's image, which it used to claim as the largest democracy, has been now exposed as a rogue state. So I think Sikhs are thriving in Punjab as well. Like 2.5 years ago, when the Sikh farmers, they compelled Modi regime to take back 3 farm laws, which they were forcefully wanted to take lands of the Punjab farmers under the scheme and give it to Adani. And again, now farmers' movement in Punjab, while today we are talking, a very successful Punjab Bandh has been organized. And actually, day before yesterday, we had a very big protest here in front of the India's UN mission, and then we marched to the United Nations. So all segments of Sikh society in Punjab, they may be farmers, they may be industrialists, they may be employees, common Sikhs, they are out all on the roads. They have realized that all these what they are going through, they are the symptoms of slavery, and the answer for it is the freedom of Khalistan. So I think in the 2025, we are hoping that as there is a sympathy factor in all Five Eyes countries, lot of coverage in 2024 has happened in the not only American media, international media, and at this time, even whoever matters in Washington, D.C., they are showing interest in the Khalistan as well. And if you look at the South Asian scenario, the way Bangladesh coup took place, the situation in Myanmar on the northeast, and India going in the lap of Russia, the way Modi visited Moscow and then Ajit Doval, and now they have signed a contract for $12.3 billion to buy crude oil for the next 10 years. So I think all these factors, they have pissed off those American policymakers, those at one stage who thought that friendship with India is important to counter China. I think there is a rethinking in the Washington DC's think tanks as well, that India is not a reliable partner, and certainly Sikh factor has emerged as a key factor in the whole South Asian context in which President Trump's new policy will be set in, and we are hoping that they will look at the Sikh factor and put India in its place.
That's wonderful. You said that India is no more a reliable partner for United States as far as China containment policy is concerned. Another important thing, now I will take you to exactly India, where it's definitely a home country for Sikh, for Christians, for Muslims. My immediate question is, why this BJP-led regime, led by Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and Ajit Doval and Amit Shah and Rajnath Singh, they are at the center of stage. What BJP wanted to achieve by suppressing Sikhs, Muslims, and the Manipur stories in front of you, where homes of Christians are being burned, they are being killed. So what they wanted to achieve after targeting these minorities, Muslims, Sikhs, Christians, and Dalits?
I think we'll have to go back 100 years. In 1925, when RSS, Rashtriya Swayam Sevak Sangh, was founded by Dr. Hedgewar, which was later on led by Golwalkar, there the very foundation of RSS was based on motivation, inspiration, and example of Nazi party. As Nazi ideology was of one nation, one race, one people. So they came up with a slogan, Hindu, Hindi, Hindustan. And we know that how the different ideologues of Hindutva, particularly Savarkar, when he talked about the Hindutva term came from Savarkar. And in these 100 years, RSS has risen from a so-called social reforming party to a political entity. And not only that, Modi is the third time Prime Minister now in a minority government, which is a coalition government. So I think we'll have to look at that what had been RSS approach towards Muslims and Christians. Savarkar has very clearly said that those religions whose sacred places are outside India, either they should be assimilated or they should be annihilated. Their two words had been very clear, that either assimilate or be ready to annihilate. So I think with the Sikhs, their position has been that Sikhs, Buddhists and Jain, they are a part of Hinduism. They are the sects of Hinduism. So as when the Sikhs asserted that no, we are a separate faith, we are a separate entity and we have nothing to do with the Hindutva ideology, that is when RSS firstly used even Indira Gandhi. And I want to remind you that when Indira Gandhi attacked Golden Temple, Atal Bihari Vajpayee, so-called moderate face of Hindutva RSS, he said Indira Gandhi is reincarnation of goddess Durga. So now the concept of Durga is who destroyed Rakshas, as they used to term. And RSS had been very quietly working on their agenda to assimilate Sikhs. But now, as Khalistan movement has come to that point, that they have realized that they are not going to accept the Hindu supremacy. So against Muslims and Christians, their line has been very open from the very beginning. And we look at that December 6, 1992, when Babri Mosque was demolished. And then in the corridors of power in Parliament, BJP leaders were shouting the slogan, "Ye to pehli jhanki hai, Mathura kanshi baki hai." And we see that now what they have done in Mathura, in Banaras, in Sambal, and they have started even laying claim to Taj Mahal and other places, mob lynching and others. With the Christians, Manipur example
exactly
is upfront, that where the Kuki Christian tribe for the past 1 year, they are being bombed, they are being annihilated, they are being thrown out of their native places so that they should change the demography, as they are doing in Jammu and Kashmir. They are doing the same in Punjab. A large number of Eastern labor from UP and Bihar is being settled in Punjab, so that tomorrow if UN says, okay, let there be Khalistan referendum in Punjab, and in the demography, Sikhs may be in minority. And we'll have to see only these three states of India, where in Punjab, Sikhs are in majority, in Jammu and Kashmir, Muslims are in majority, and in Manipur and Nagaland, Christians are in majority. So these so-called trouble states are actually, it's the handiwork of Indian agencies where they are uprooting people, they are trying to assimilate that. So I think BJP, by using transnational repression, started killing of the Sikh activists outside, have exposed itself. And even look at Prime Minister Manmohan Singh died just 2-3 days ago. Even they look at the man who gave 35 years of life to India under the, he is called, on one hand, he is called the father of modern India by bringing economical prosperity. But they didn't even let him, his last rites happen at Rajghat. They had him at Nigam Ghat, which is for a commoner. That shows their tendency that in spite of a Sikh who was truly to the boot pro-India, Manmohan Singh did nothing for the Sikh. But for India, he gave India economical prosperity. But even they are not ready to accept a pro-India Sikh that his last rite should happen at a place where the other prime ministers of India has been cremated. So that shows itself, and that happened under the direct orders of Modi government, which said no, he will go, his last rites will happen at Nigam Ghat, not at Rajghat.
Dr. Saab, these all actions and history and current situation which you have described nicely. So, don't you think these all actions being taken by BJP, which are against Sikh, Muslim, Christians, and other minorities across India, and India's transnational crimes and repression against Sikh community, don't you think India is on a way to break up?
I think India is on the same path which in the 1980s Soviet Union was, and what happened in Yugoslavia after the demise of
Exactly.
Marshall. So I think India, it was never a country, never a nation in history. It's all false narrative of great pride, ancient India, all. India, even during the time of Buddha, 2,500 years ago, was divided in 570 different principalities or different units or different ruling entities. So I think Britishers, they handed over a big chunk to them as they hastily retreated from South Asia, and India is going on the same path on which Soviet Union and Yugoslavia. Soviet Union got divided
In the
into
past.
15 different provinces. So was Yugoslavia in 7 or 8. In India, I think it's going to, in the next coming years, have the same fate as what happened to Soviet Union and Yugoslavia.
And another quick question is that you describe about the political situation in India and rights of the Sikhs and minorities. I need your comments on Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution guarantees that in Indian Republic will be a secular state. So these all actions being done by BJP are the clear violation of the Indian Constitution. So why Indian judiciary is silent then?
The fact of the matter is that RSS, which is the mother organization of BJP, they never accepted Indian tricolor as well until 1990s. Tricolor not used to be hoisted at the Nagpur headquarters of RSS. Neither they accepted ever the Indian Constitution. As a fact, though Modi may be bowing before it in Parliament and all. And their real intent is, when they say Hindu Rashtra, when their all top leadership says, and the Hindu Rashtra means Manu Smriti, which believes in caste system, Brahman, Kshatri, Vaishya, Shudra, dividing society on the basis of caste, which is by birth. So I think for them, and that is why now these days Congress and all opposition, they are having an Indian constitution in hand, and even the Amit Shah, the latest his remarks on Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, who was the first president of Constituent Assembly, and Congress is protesting against it. That shows that what they have inside. I think if they would have gotten 400 seats, what was their target? Ki ab ki baar 400 par. By now, they would have replaced Indian Constitution with the Manu Smriti. So there should not be any doubt about it that RSS is following whatever its founder, Golwalkar. Look at his book, Bunch of Thoughts. And not only there, the Golwalkar says that what final solution Hitler has found for the Jews, that is a solution for Muslims and Christians of India. At that time, they were not talking about the Sikhs, and as they thought always that Sikhs are a sect of Hinduism and we will kill them with the love kiss. But at this time, now with the power, with their acceptability around the way Modi, look at Modi was not allowed to enter America, Canada for 12 years. What Modi did, and Amit Shah was Home Minister with Modi in Gujarat.
Particularly Gujarat rights. Exactly, Gujarat rights.
In 2002, they killed thousands of Muslims in Gujarat. And for 12 years, he was not allowed. And now all of a sudden, the Modi claims that we are the wish of Guru. But I think this transnational repression against Sikhs that has exposed India, and even within Europe now, even European Parliament has come up with a resolution what India is doing in Manipur. Even in the Trump administration, we are hoping now, like Harmeet Kaur Dhillon, who has been appointed as the Assistant Attorney General by the Trump administration. Look at how much venom the Indians there or there on the X and all, they spewed as they thought that with the Harmeet Kaur Dhillon, she is pro-Khalistan, and although she supported farmers' agitation, she spoke against India's transnational depression. So India, the way they are denigrating minorities, they are creating such an environment that the vast Hindu majority under Bajrang Dal, under Shiv Sena, under so many things, that at this time, any time, as Gregory Stalin has mentioned, 10 steps of genocide against Muslims can happen at any moment in India. And even there, one of Gobar Arya, Major Gobar Arya, in 3 days back in a show, he said, if Sikhs don't listen, we have a Rwanda model for them. They should be ready for the Rwanda model. And we know what happened in Rwanda in 1994. So I think anything can happen in India. The way they have worked up, they have created hatred amongst the major communities, and the way they have recruited people to carry on violent activities as there is no accountability for them. The Gunda Adityanath Yogi, who is called Baba Bulldozer, he destroyed hundreds of Muslim businesses, the homes, and in the name of everything unconstitutional. At this time, if I may have to say in one line, Indian Constitution is not the Constitution of India today. Already Hindu Nation Constitution like Manu Smriti is being implemented by majority Indian states which are ruled by BJP governments.
Last, since we are close to the program, I would like to seek your variable comments how Pakistan is treating Sikh community when Sikhs from across the world come to some of the holiest places in Pakistan, that is Nankana Sahib and then Gurdwara Sahib, Panja Sahib in Hasan Abdal. And the biggest gift that Pakistan has given to the Sikhs all around the world, that is Kartarpur Sahib complex. A beautiful complex has been made since last 5 years, attracting Sikhs not only from India, but from around the world. So 3 religious places of Sikh community are located in Pakistan. And how Pakistan is treating Sikhs, your thoughts, please.
I think Pakistan is a pious land, Pak Dharti for the Sikhs, as our Makkah and Medina, Nankana Sahib and Kartarpur Sahib are in Pakistan. And we are thankful to Pakistan government in the past and even currently the way the whole arrangements are made. I think it was a opening of a new avenue for the Sikh-Muslim relationship when in 2019 on the 550th birth anniversary of Guru Nanak Sahib, and actually that was the birth anniversary of Allama Iqbal as well. Exactly. And I want to remind that Allama Iqbal in his book Bhange Dara, when he wrote a nazam on Nanak, when he said that फिर उठी आखिर सदा तौहीद पंजाब से हिंद को एक मर्द कामिल ने जगाया ख्वाब से. So I think that dream is coming true. The relationship between not only that the pilgrims, those who visit, they are very well treated, very well handled. But I think overall the goodwill of the Pakistani people for the Sikh community, and I have seen dozens of interviews where the pilgrims, those who come from India and now across the globe, they say the love, respect and honor we get in Pakistan, nowhere in the world Sikhs are respected or loved as much as by the people of Pakistan. So we hope that in the coming time, this factor of Sikh Muslim unity, and particularly in India as well, here as well, as an activist for the last 4 decades here in the United States, we always organize protests together with our Kashmiri brothers and sisters, not only on Tawheed and all, we have the same value system. I think politically as well, what the Muslims in India, Christians in India, Sikhs in India are suffering under the regime. I always remind my other fellow activists as well and Kashmiri activists as well, as American free thinker Benjamin Franklin said, at one time that we must hang together, otherwise we will be hanged separately. So now Sikhs, Muslims, Christians, Dalits all need to come together to fight against the Brahminical hegemony and liberate their own homelands and create a peaceful, stable, prosperous South Asia.
One sentence for people of occupied Jammu and Kashmir who are also in subjugation and oppression by India, so that they may have some good hopes. A person like you, just two sentences about people of occupied Jammu and Kashmir and their struggle.
I think first thing, the regret that Sheikh Abdullah and Master Tara Singh made blunders, about which one Urdu couplet, who's the justice, wo waqt bhi dekha तारीख की घड़ियों ने, जब लम्हों ने खता की सदियों ने सजा पाई. Finally, I think the message for our Kashmiri brothers and sisters as well as our Sikh brothers and sisters is, only those become slaves, those who accept slavery. Those who don't accept slavery, nobody can subjugate them. So I think the fighting spirit of our Kashmiri brothers and sisters, that even motivates us the way they have resisted the Indian occupation. And even since 2019, when on August 5th, 2019, Article 370 was done away with, Kashmir was broken into a union territory, still Kashmiri people, their defiance is continuing in one way or the other. BJP, in spite of all their effort, has not been able to win a single seat in the Kashmir Valley. And we hope that one day Kashmir will, Jammu and Kashmir, occupied Jammu and Kashmir, will be liberated. Khalistan will be liberated. Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram will be liberated. And we all in the South Asia will have a system like European Union, where we will meet together, where we'll get across the borders of each other, have trade freely, which is not possible until unless this India, which is a Brahmancracy, is disintegrated like Soviet Union and Yugoslavia. I think hope, umeed, as Islam and Sikhi both, we don't believe in naumidi, we believe in hope. Hope is there. We should keep on struggling, and ultimate justice with the Allah Ta'ala, with God Almighty, Waheguru, our people will be liberated one day from the Indian yoke.
Such a beautiful conversation, and Happy New Year. And 2024 is passing, 2025 is just very near, very close. Just in 2 words, your message for Sikhs and Muslims and all people around the world on 2025.
I think 2025, we hope that in the world, the situation, what is happening in Gaza, Lebanon, Syria, God, merciful God, grants peace, stability, and similarly in Ukraine and our part of the world as well. So I think ultimately the will of the God that prevails, but we hope. And there is a very beautiful hymn of Guru Amar Das, the third Guru, with that quote. I'll conclude the conversation. Jagat jalanda rakh le, apni kirpa tar, jit dware ubre, titte leo ubar. O God Almighty, save this burning world. Jagat jalanda rakh le, apni kirpa tar. Kirpa is bakshish, rahmat, grace. Exactly. O God Almighty, O Allah Ta'ala, save this burning world through thy grace, thy marjit dware ubre titte, whatever it takes, God Almighty, save this world. Let we all as human beings be at peace, at harmony, and we hope that 2025 brings the peace and stability in the world.
Thank you so much indeed, our global viewers. You will definitely enjoy this wonderful, thoughtful conversation of Dr. Amarjeet Singh Sahab, who is based in Washington, a Khalistan leader who made extraordinary conversation, and he talked about rights of the people in India, and he exposed BJP regime. Till our next program, goodbye and Allah Hafiz from studios.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you.